Hi guys, so I want to show you this weird, bizarre response Boris Johnson had to Ian Blackford, the leader of the SNP in the House of Commons. Now, they started talking about something which is extremely serious, but towards the end, Boris Johnson, during his grandstanding, went down a very bizarre road. So let's hear what they had to say.
Let's head up to Scotland with the leader of the SNP, Ian Blackford. Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, for the first time in months, people have woken up with a genuine sense of hope. The news on the vaccine approval is the news that we've all been waiting for. But, Mr. Speaker, for many, that hope on the horizon remains far too distant. There are millions who still haven't had a single penny of support from this UK government. As others rightly received help, they received none. Prime Minister, yesterday I met with Excluded UK, who represent many of these 3 million citizens. For the last 9 months, the excluded have been living without any help, without any hope. And it is now, tragically, costing lives. Prime Minister, they told me something genuinely shocking. They are aware of 8 people who have taken their lives in the last 10 days. 8 people in 10 days. Prime Minister, we're now a little over 3 weeks from Christmas. These people need help. Will the Prime Minister commit to looking again at the support package for the excluded to ensure no one, but no one, is left behind?
This is an issue that Ian Blackford has raised a number of times. Almost in every Prime Minister's questions, he raises this issue about these people who don't have access to any support. And as he has just said, many of them are pushed down a very dark road, and they have been abandoned by the government. There's money found to, on a Brexit celebration. There's money found to line the pockets of corrupt individuals. There's money found for this. There's money found for that. But for these people, there is no money, unfortunately. And let's hear what Boris Johnson had to say.
Prime Minister.
Well, I obviously sympathise very much, Mr. Speaker, with those who've taken their lives and their families. And this has been a very tough time for the country. We're investing massively in mental health support across the country, as he knows, which flows through in violent consequentials to obviously to Scotland. And we put in a huge package of support. He knows this, but I must repeat this.
Why, Boris? Can you not just say, look, we failed these people. I apologise. These people have been failed by us. Now we need to fix this problem. I'm going to reach out to the Scottish Government to deal with the situation there. I'm going to reach out to the government in Northern Ireland. I'm going to reach out to the government in Wales. We need to sort this out. We have failed these people. But he's incapable of doing this. He responds to the question, and then he starts talking about something that's unrelated, and he uses it to grandstand.
This for self-employed people across the country. And I know there are hard-to-reach people, but they are also supported with the increases in universal credit and the
increases in universal credit. Do you not understand, Boris, that many people who are on universal credit go down the same road as those forgotten people? I wish Boris Johnson was put on universal credit for a month to understand what it's like. And I can guarantee you, if he or any of his cabinet had to, survive on universal credit for 1 month, the problems of universal credit would be eliminated overnight.
Many other means of support that are currently on offer, Mr. Speaker. And I think when you look at the overall level of support this government has given to people across this country, it compares favourably with any other government around the world.
Is that the response to these families? Well, we're doing better than other countries, so you should be satisfied. Really, I'm not trying to be disingenuous. I truly believe that if Boris Johnson came out and said, look, we have failed these people. Nobody's going to... if he said this, I would have respect for Boris Johnson. But he doesn't say this because it's about protecting himself. But don't worry, it's going to get worse.
Returning to Ian Blackford. Ian Blackford.
I have to say, and I do this with regret, Mr. Speaker, that simply isn't good enough. These people need help, and I'm asking the Prime Minister to think very carefully about this. This has been an abject failure by this UK government, and the Prime Minister has been missing in action. The government has U-turned on almost everything else, so why can't the Prime Minister and the Chancellor change their minds on their support for these 3 million people? These are people working in construction, creative industries, events, education, hospitality, retail and healthcare. They haven't just been left behind. They've been ignored for 9 months. The Chancellor has repeatedly dogged this issue. Excluded UK haven't been offered one formal meeting with the government minister. Will the Prime Minister commit today to a meeting and working with Excluded UK on a meaningful package of support? Or is the Prime Minister simply going to abandon these people 3 weeks from Christmas?
Why can't he raised a valid point? Why can't the Prime Minister meet with these people? And why can't he do a U-turn? He's been doing U-turns on everything else, so why can't he do a U-turn on this?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've abandoned nobody, and we're continuing to support people. We have announced nearly 4 in addition to.
I think it's very important. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but there was a bit of a little commotion in Parliament when Boris Johnson said, "We're doing everything we can. We're supporting everyone." Imagine the Parliament is pretty much empty at the moment. Can you imagine if Parliament was full? The noise that would have come from the other side. But it will get worse, I promise.
To the support I've already mentioned, we've announced nearly 400 million to support vulnerable children and their families through the winter. We've increased universal credit, as I just mentioned, to the House, increased local housing allowance, provided billions more to.
So he has his stock answer. Yes, more money for universal credit, more money for businesses, more money for this, more money for that.
Local authorities to help those who are hard to reach. But I may say to the right honourable gentleman.
So now he gets to his grandstanding moment.
The best way to help the self-employed, to help the economy of this whole country, is to get us moving again with the package of measures that the House voted for last night to allow retail to start up again, to allow business to start up again. The gentleman for the Scottish Nationalists said it's shameful. We on this side of the House do not think retail is shameful.
What? So. The right honourable gentleman who is talking about Ian Blackford said it's shameful that people have been abandoned. Boris Johnson is saying it's shameful that the SNP are against retail. What the hell is wrong with Boris Johnson?
Mr. Speaker, we want businesses to open up again, Mr. Speaker.
Oh my God, Boris, you have lost your marbles completely. Ian Blackford was talking about how shameful it is that people have taken their lives because they see no way out, because they have no support from the government. And you're turning this around and saying that the SNP are against retail. Did you even listen to the question? Did you even listen to what Ian Blackford was saying? This is a new low for Boris Johnson. He's been able to turn a desperate situation that ordinary people are going through, and their families, into some sort of weird political football. Look, as I said before, why does Boris Johnson have to grandstand on every bloody issue? Everything has to be some sort of grandstand at the end. Who likes to listen to this? Who is it for? It's disgusting. It's immoral. And it's not because I disagree with Boris Johnson. I don't like Boris Johnson. I've said before, if Boris Johnson came out and said, look, we're sorry, we failed. We failed these people. Let's now try and build something better. Let's invest where it's needed. I'm going to meet with these charity groups, these organizations, because I want to fix this problem. I would have respect for him. And I mean that honestly. Because people can make mistakes, people can be misinformed, people can be ignorant of a situation. But as soon as they're informed, as soon as they try and fix it, they have my full respect. But Boris Johnson is incapable of doing that. You know, I've always held out some sort of hope that there's some sort of humanity in him, but I think it's gone. Maybe there wasn't any in the first place. It's a disgusting behavior. And once again, trying to turn a very serious issue that's affecting millions of people into some sort of political football is disgusting.
Speaker, and that is the nature of the package that was voted for last night, which was, I think, was quite right. It's a great shame that the right honourable gentleman opposite could not bring himself to...
And now he's trying to bring Keir Starmer into this as well. This was a question about support for people and their families who are going through a desperate moment in their lives. And Boris Johnson is turning it into an anti-SNP rant and an attempt to drag the leader of the opposition into this, who is incapable of responding because he's already asked his questions. Disgusting behaviour. Complete indifference to people's suffering. Complete indifference to people's lives. But this is Boris Johnson to a T. Sorry about this rant, guys, but I really want to know what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.